You are listening to the Pencil and Paper Podcast Network.
I'm Katrina, and I love anime.
I'm Steven, and I'm aware of anime.
But what if that affection could rub off?
Perhaps that excitement in her eyes got me curious.
I could offer up some solid anime.
I could give them a watch, just to see what all the fuss is about.
And maybe, just maybe,
I could learn to love anime too.
welcome to Inspired by a Weeaboo. Hello and welcome back to Inspired by a Weeaboo. I am your host Katrina, and with me is my husband Steven.
Hello.
We just finished episode 2 of Fullmetal Alchemist. So Steven, what did you think?
Well, that answered some questions. It left me with some more, but in a good way. I'm not confused. This is not fully cooling, where I'm still trying to wrap my head around things. This has a very solid narrative that I'm really into, and we didn't touch on that. We kind of grazed this in the last episode, and I guess I kind of forgot about it, but we did mention gluttony, but lust seems to be the mastermind behind whatever's going on, or at least that's what I'm gathering, unless there's another element. But okay, by your face,
you'll have to wait and see.
But there seems to be, and maybe I'm wrong, and you can tell me if the theme continues or if it is maybe just in these 2 episodes. There seems to be a slight, I don't want to say anti-religious sentiment, but religion versus science seems to be a heavy plot point that they were really trying to drive home, where the priest was trying to manipulate everyone in the town using alchemy, and I'm not even sure if he was using alchemy now, because we find out that his Philosopher's Stone was a fake.
I mean, it was still technically alchemy. He was just bypassing the laws, which is what caused the ending
I got you.
to happen.
And he had been manipulating these people for his own personal gain, and I'm assuming lust had something to do with it, or at least she made him think he could do more with this fake ring, because she apparently bestowed it upon him. And he got ratted out thanks to the cleverness of the
of the brothers.
Elric brothers. Yes. I don't know why I want to keep saying Elric.
Elric.
So there was the watch, and that was another thing too that I thought that they were kind of grazing over an answer as to kind of my question last time, where it was how was he able to pull the spear? And he was like, aha, you've got this watch, and that's how you get your powers. But clearly that wasn't the case, because he proved that he doesn't need the watch, and he said as much. So they work for a military organization?
Yes. Technically, yes. It is a military organization. They do have, generals and colonels and stuff like that. You will meet them. Like I said, you have Major Armstrong. You have Colonel Mustang. Hughes, which I can't remember what Hughes was. I know what he ends up obtaining as far as his status in the military, but I don't remember where he starts at. But you meet several other military. The people are kind of mixed when it comes to the military, and that's something else that will be explained, because while you have these soldiers, or the military dogs like they call them, you have ones that really care about people and want to do good, but are restrained by, their laws and the crap that's been put down. But then you have ones that take it for granted, and you will see both sides of that in the military. But the military itself has a very dark and messed up history that literally helped set off chain of events way before even the Elric brothers were born.
So do they explain why they got involved with him, or?
Yes.
Okay. So it wasn't just like they weren't drafted into this military organization, or
It was kind of...
If you can't really explain it, then don't bother.
Well,
I
it's
don't
kind
wanna
of,
spoil
it works out for both of them in a sense.
Okay. So, as I said, the Philosopher's Stone was fake. So that, in the narrative structure, it explained what they were after. And then the fact that it was a fake just gave us a reason to say, oh, well, we've got to continue the adventure, which is fine. It works out that way. And I kind of think that just looking at the way they kind of laid it out, I was sitting there thinking, this alone could make a pretty decent movie for an introduction. You could probably pad it out a little bit and kind of get to know the people. Like, we really got kind of a quick glimpse of Rose, but I'm sure that's not like the last we'll ever see of her.
No.
I figured as much, since you said everything wraps back around. But let's talk about her fucked up situation, because she got what she wanted. And man, that was like, I wasn't 100% sure. Like, when I saw the feathers on the ground, I thought, well, is he going to be like half and half or something? Or I wasn't 100% sure what it was going to be. And then they revealed that her boyfriend, whose name I can't remember, Kane, is just, his soul is in a bird. A big freaking parrot.
Not even technically. That is one of the things you'll find out. And like Edward did make a comment of it, you can't replicate a human soul. So basically what the father did was take all these birds, create a bigger bird that would be, big enough to pass as a person, and then make him mimic how Cain would have sounded.
Okay.
So it wasn't Cain's soul. She never got him back. He's dead. Like they said, once you die, you die. That's the end of it.
It makes you wonder about the others that they mentioned. And are we going to get to see them?
The others?
The other people that apparently were brought back to life and then were pushed out of the town.
No. They weren't pushed out of the town. It was they got brought back to life. People kind of saw them and they left town. Okay. So kind of like the ending when you see the birds fly away, and once they get far enough away, they literally just like pop and disappear.
Gotcha.
It would have been like that.
Okay. And now Envy was it Envy?
Envy.
Envy is now taking the persona of the priest to fill these idiots with false hope again.
Yep.
And I'm sure this is not the last we'll see of this town either, because this town seems to be some sort of central hub.
I wouldn't really say central hub. I would say the biggest key component, other than, gluttony, envy, and lust being there, which they go all over the fucking place, would be Rose.
Okay. And I noticed too, and I've never mentioned this before, with anime openings, but I find it funny that with anime shows, you can watch so many episodes of a show, and I know we're only 2 in, but I'm just using this as an example because I've seen it. You go through and you see all these little clips, and they'll show like all these shots from scenes that are not even made for the show. They're just made for this opening, and they'll show characters in the opening that we've never met.
Yep.
But yet they point them out like they're important. And we're like, well, who's this? I don't know who that is.
Because they are all important.
But we don't know who that is. And you're showing me in the opening credits. Why are you doing that? Now I'm curious who that is. And it could be forever.
No, it won't be forever.
Okay.
Matter of fact, the military scene where you have, the people marching, the very first person marching you technically saw in the first episode. He was the man standing in the rain looking at Ed and Al's house when it was glowing when they were performing the alchemy.
Well, I don't remember that.
That is Colonel Mustang.
Okay, well, I don't remember that at all. I mean, I remember all the other stuff. I just don't remember that guy.
It's kind of I wouldn't say super fast clip, but it does kind of, it's one of those kind of panning over him type clips.
I remember there being 2 other people, but I just don't.
Well, the other two people they have not introduced yet, which is Winry and her grandmother, which were friends of... Well, Winry is Edward's age, or at least within a year or two of Edward's age. And she might actually be older than Edward now that I think about it. But her grandmother was friends with their father.
Now, I'm glad you mentioned him because there was the way their mother said it in this flashback seemed a little odd. She saw their little creations, like you said, they're making trinkets.
Yeah.
And it was very specific how she stated, "You're just like him." Almost as if to say, "You're nothing like me. You're so much like him." And I assume him meant their father.
Yes.
And it like I said, the way it came off almost made it sound like she was not their mom.
No, she is definitely their mother. You'll, when you meet Hohenheim, which is their father.
That's a mouthful.
Yes. And he has a crazy ass backstory too. All these characters have crazy backstories, and all of their backstories tie in together, and it's just amazing. But anyway, when you meet him, you'll realize, the boys like get their ambition from him, and like a lot of their attitude and stuff like that, but their heart, the thing that makes them care about people above anything else, they got from their mother.
Yeah.
Like that is the biggest thing that she gave them, is their love, not only for one another, but for the people that they end up meeting throughout their life. Because they go from literal orphans to having such an amazing family that surrounds them from people that they end up meeting.
We got another... It wasn't like no one said anything about his height, but it had like snapped on this dude and like put words in his mouth. And the guy was like, "What are you talking about? I never said that." So yeah, he's very touchy about his height.
Very touchy about his height.
So did we miss the point where, because in that same scene, obviously we find out that Ed, not Ed, but Al was, or we thought he was beaten to death.
Yes.
So when did he pull that out of his ass?
You have to pay attention. If you watch the scene where they're talking and Ed is asking Al, or Al is asking Ed, why are they treating us, like we're bad guys and everything? Ed is sitting on the base of that statue. Well, when the people come, you see Al standing, but if you look around the bottom of Al's feet, it's the base of the statue. He turned the statue to look like Al's armor. So that when they attacked, they were attacking the statue, not Al's armor. Or not Al.
Huh. Yeah, I didn't see that at all.
Yep.
Okay.
They're tricky.
But that's good. That's clever.
Yeah.
That's stuff that you'll go back and you look for the second time around and be like, holy shit, there it is. So that's cool. Okay. I was not aware of that. So I'm gonna have to pay attention to little details. Yes. But I don't even know what I'm looking for. Like, I wasn't expecting that.
No. So
I didn't know to look for something like that. So I feel like I'm going to be tricked, and I'm going to have that moment again where I'm like, what did I miss? Because I've already missed clearly 2 or 3 things.
Nah.
Thus far.
It'll be all right.
Well, I mean, I don't really think there's much more I can think of that I wanted to touch on. No, I did. The dude, like, when he started the priest, when his arm went all, like, Tetsuo and just, like, rah, and started to, like, turn into metal and gunk, and that was messed up.
Yeah.
Why did that happen?
It was basically like a, I don't think the word's like reverb or whatever, but basically if you think of something like coming back at you, I guess, and from him using it, it was all of the sacrificing that he should have been making and was not making bounced back onto him, and that was the price he had to pay. So, yeah.
Gotcha. But now he's dead, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, gluttony ate him.
Yeah, now we didn't get to see that, but we sure as hell heard it.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
so that was fun. And it's funny too, because I know we mentioned in the Akira episode how bloody that was, but they haven't really. I mean, again, outside
they will
of
get there.
They'll get there.
Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, it's not like I was expecting it. I was a little shocked to see when we saw the leg missing.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay. So it's going to be one of those. So is this? When did you first watch this? Like, was it on Cartoon Network during the Adult Swim, or was it Toonami or something like that?
I don't remember if it was on Cartoon Network. I don't think it was on Toonami, so I'm going to guess it was on Cartoon Network. I watched it when it first aired. So, when was that? In the 2000s?
When
Was it in the
did it come out in
2000s?
2000s? Because I mean, the animation style itself and the way it looks, and you know, I should have said this in the last episode when we were talking about it, but it doesn't have an old look to it, but it, I guess, because of the
2003.
2003. Okay, so it's not. I mean, I guess it is kind of. It's 20 years old this year.
Yeah.
Wow, look at that. Look at us doing a 20-year anniversary thing for something.
Almost the 20-year anniversary. It'll be
It's going to be 20 years by the
20
time
years
we get
old
through.
on October 4th.
Well, see, by the time we're going to be almost done with the show.
And that works because there's also a movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I cannot wait until you get to the movie.
Now, does the movie take place after?
Yes.
Okay, so we have to get through all this before the movie. So there's not like an interim where we have to get to the movie.
No.
Okay.
You have to get through all of this to get to the movie, or you're not going to know what the fuck is happening in the movie.
But, you know, I mean, sometimes they'll put, like, sneak in a movie. Because aren't there, like, 4 or 5 Inuyasha movies?
Yeah, and you actually have to watch them while you're watching the anime.
That's what I'm
like,
talking
up to a
about.
point, then there's a movie, then you watch more, and then there's a movie, and watch more, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, see, so I was just making sure we weren't going to have to stop.
No.
Find this movie.
This one, when the anime ended, it ends on basically a big-ass fucking cliffhanger. So the movie was to wrap it up and give you an ending to their story.
So, I mean, it finished.
Yes,
Done.
for them.
So
For this one.
for this
Brotherhood finishes in its own way, and if I'm not mistaken, it finishes within the anime.
Well, obviously, I mean, it followed the manga
Yeah.
or whatever. So, okay, all right. I don't really know what more.
I do want to ask you this one question because we haven't seen much of the cities yet. But just based off of what you're seeing so far, and maybe I'll ask you this again, what time period do you feel like this would be based in? It
has an old feel to it. The structures and everything make it feel maybe like it could be, granted, this is not America. So I'm trying to think outside that because there are a lot of older structures in other countries around this, you know, that can kind of perceive or be perceived as older. So assuming we're talking at like another country, I would still kind of bring it back just a little bit, maybe in the early 1900s, mainly because of the radio. They do have technology. I haven't seen any vehicles or anything like that, but the radio itself really kind of had an old-timey feel to it. So early 1900s, I think, you know, when radios were starting to become a thing and you know, early technology.
Okay.
Yeah, just based on what little facts I have thus far.
Okay.
So.
Well, I definitely want you to watch more, and then I will ask you that question again because the movie answers that perfectly.
Okay. And with the arguments of science and I mean, that alone, if they hadn't shown the radio, if we were working with the science versus religion aspect, I would probably go farther back. Because I know that argument.
You would think that, wouldn't you?
You would think that. Because, now granted, even today, I've had that argument with people before where people are like, fucking stupid science because all you're trying to do is prove shit.
I can say this. It happened or at least it takes place within the, because obviously this isn't the, you know, our world.
Sure.
But it takes place within the time period of my grandfather being alive.
Okay. So I'm not far off.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Well, that's all I got to say about it. So,
Well, alrighty then. We are going to jump into the next episode.
well, everybody, as usual, tell all your favorite anime fans that they can find us on their favorite podcasting platforms, Spotify and Apple and all those famous places, or you can go to Good Pods. I know that seems to be popular. Make us go up the ranks on Good Pods. I get emails about that shit all the time where they're like, hey, your podcast was like number 30 on the list and stuff. You could make this the #1 anime podcast on Good Pods. Go listen on Good Pods. Apparently they're doing stuff for people. But follow us on well, we don't have any social media, so we'll get there, I guess. You can go to pencilpaperproductions.com/inspiredweeaboo to always keep up with episodes if that's your bag, if that's what you want to do. Or you can even find us on YouTube. We do episodes on YouTube, youtube.com/pencil-and-paper-productions. It's very simple. We're everywhere. You can find us everywhere. If you want to support the show, I've never said that, or maybe I have, I don't remember, patreon.com/pencil-paper-productions, and you can chuck in a buck and help this show grow. You know, it's a fun thing to do.
It is.
Yeah, just $1. I'm not asking for much. I'm not asking for 26,000. I know some people do. You know who you are. But anyway, yeah. Go follow all those things. Tell all your friends. And let's #save Fullmetal.
Yes. All right. Until next time, my little weebs.
This has been a Pencil and Paper Podcast Network production.